century, when the golden age of privateering was at its peak, a Scottish sailor named Alexander Selkirk embarked on an adventure that would forever etch his name in history. In 1703, he joined the crew of the Cinque-Ports, a ship commanded by Captain Thomas Stradling, under the leadership of the renowned William Dampier. Their mission was to plunder enemy ships along the South American coast, a perilous venture driven by the lust for wealth during the War of the Spanish Succession. During this journey, Selkirk met Isabella, a Spanish noblewoman traveling with her family on a merchant ship. When their fleet navigated the treacherous waters of Cape Horn, facing fierce storms and towering waves, Selkirk's eyes fell on Isabella. Her gaze held a spark more captivating than the storms themselves. In their brief encounter, their hearts drew closer, but her family quickly called her back to the ship's cabin after a fierce skirmish with a French ship that escaped to alert. Spanish forces. A failed raid in Panama left the crew disheartened, but they seized a merchant ship laden with wine, sugar, flour, and brandy. Isabella was aboard, and Selkirk tried to protect her, assuring her of her safety, but Dampier released the ship after taking essential supplies, and Isabella slipped from his life, once more leaving a pang in his heart. Tensions aboard the Cinque-Ports grew as Selkirk became alarmed by the ship's deteriorating condition. Its timbers groaned under strain, and leaks threatened its survival. His sharp sailor's instincts warned him it could not continue. Isabella's memory burned like a fire in his heart, and he thought if he could see her again, he might find his life's purpose. His clashes with the unyielding Stradling escalated, and by September 1704, the fleet reached Massa Tierra, an uninhabited island in the Juan Fernandez archipelago, 400 miles off Chile's coast. To gather fresh water, fearing for his life, Selkirk declared he would rather stay on the island than sail on the failing ship. Stradling left him alone, with only a musket, an old hatchet, a cooking pot, a knife, some carpenter's tools, his Bible, and a small bundle of clothing and bedding. As the Cinque-Ports vanished over the horizon, Selkirk stood alone on the shore, overwhelmed by the harsh reality of his isolation, hundreds of miles from civilization. Surrounded by the vast Pacific, he faced a wild, untamed island filled with strange sounds, from howling winds to crashing waves and unknown creatures. Isabella's memory haunted him, and he wondered if he would ever see her again. Selkirk's early days were filled with fear, loneliness, and deep regret. The weight of his decision crushed him, and Isabella's absence wounded his heart. He contemplated suicide, staring at the sea, hoping for a ship that never came. The island was both a paradise and a prison, its beauty hiding deadly challenges. He found shelter in a damp beachside cave, foraging for berries, roots, and shellfish to survive while battling profound grief. Isabella's smile echoed in his mind. The mating season of sea lions broke his solitude. Massive creatures swarmed the beach, cutting off his food supply, forcing him inland. He reached a lush valley filled with cabbage palms, wild turnips, and native fruits. His salvation, pygmy goats left by earlier buccaneers, roamed the hills, and he hunted them with his musket until his gunpowder ran out. He honed his agility, chasing goats on foot and crafting traps, eventually domesticating some for meat and milk in one heart-pounding chase. He slipped from a cliff, tumbling to the bottom, where he lay in agony for days. The goat he pursued cushioned his fall, saving his life. a reminder of the island's treacherous terrain. The island's dangers extended beyond cliffs. Large rats gnawed at his hands and feet at night, threatening disease. He tamed the island's wild cats, descendants of those left by passing ships. These feline companions guarded him as he slept, forming a strange but heartwarming bond with each passing month. His resourcefulness grew. He built huts from pimenta wood, thatching them with grass and lining them with goat skins for warmth. He boiled meat in his pot, sparked fires with pimenta wood, and enriched his diet with lobsters, parsley, watercress, and parsnips. His Bible became his anchor, daily devotions, preserving his speech and grounding his sanity in endless solitude. In October 1704, two Spanish ships anchored offshore. Capture meant torture or enslavement, so he fled into the jungle. When Spanish sailors spotted him, they fired shots as he climbed a tall leafy tree. Hiding in its branches, he held his breath as the search party paused beneath, unaware of him. They left him shaken but alive. Isabella's memory gave him strength to believe he might one day tell her how he survived. As years passed, his tools and clothes wore out. He crafted new knives from an iron barrel washed ashore and made crude but functional garments from goat skins. His feet, hardened by volcanic rocks, adapted to the terrain, and his long unkempt beard made him look like a wild man. Yet he never lost hope, climbing daily to a lookout to scan the horizon for ships and lighting signal fires. Isabella's image gave him reason to live, certain he would see her again. William Dampier, whose earlier expedition left him stranded, now led a new venture with the Duke and Duchess on January 31st, 1710. After 4 years and 4 months of solitude, Selkirk spotted British rigging. He built a signal fire and waved frantically from the shore. A landing party led by Thomas Dover found him, bearded, agile, and overwhelmed with joy. Captain Woodes Rogers marveled at his vitality, calling him the governor of the island, and noting solitude was not as unbearable as many thought. Selkirk's skills proved invaluable. He caught goats daily to feed Rogers' scurvy-stricken crew. Appointed second mate on the Duke, he reignited his privateering zeal in Guayaquil, modern-day Ecuador. He led a bold raid up the Guayas River, plundering gold and jewels from Spanish nobles. There he saw Isabella again, fleeing with her family. He saved her, and for a moment their hearts reconnected, but duty pulled him away. His adventures continued along Mexico's coast, where he helped capture a Spanish prize ship. As sailing master under Dover, he navigated to the East Indies, completing a circumnavigation of the globe on October 1st. 1711, after 8 years, he returned to England, the hope of reuniting with Isabella lingering in his heart, though he never learned if he could see her again. His story inspired Daniel Defoe's novel Robinson Crusoe. In 1966, Chile renamed Masa Tierra Alejandro Selkirk Island, honoring his legacy. Selkirk's journey from defiant sailor to castaway survivor and legend is a testament to the human spirit and an unfinished love story. His tale touches the heart. Thank you for joining us on this epic historical journey. Subscribe to our channel, share your thoughts, and stay with us for more captivating stories from the past. Until next time, keep exploring the stories that shape our world.